welcome to Wine Vault TV, New Zealand's most passionate internet program. And today I've got the Honourable, I think that's what we're calling him.
Pansy Wong was the Honourable.
The most tweeted freemium author in New Zealand right now.
Very good.
Vaughan Davis, or at Vaughan Davis on Twitter.
Yes.
And, oh, you know this guy. You've met him many times before. Glenn from Spike Mail. And we're here to taste the De Bortoli Pinot Noir from the Yarra Valley, estate grown at Dixon Creek. So, and this is a pretty old vineyard down in the Yarra. I always initially thought that they were from the Barossa, but was corrected.
What do you know? So
yeah.
we've got Dixon,
So
Dixon Woodhill tasting Dixon Creek.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And you can see it's a light salmon colour in the glass. But I will give, first of all, I will give Vaughan the honour of telling everybody what you do, what your book was about, and what you've done in the past.
Oh, thank you.
A fine history.
A fine history. Well, I've just brought out a book called Tweet This Book. It's a book about social media, which does the world need another one? I obviously thought it did because I wrote one. And as much as I like the content of the book, I really like the way I published it. I used exclusively free tools to create, distribute, and promote the book.
Why?
Because I think that reflects one of the cool things about social media is that there's not necessarily any need to invest cash. There's certainly a great need to invest time and passion and commitment, and I talk about that in the book quite a lot. But by using free FTP sites, free next to free software to create the book, and a fantastic free method called Pay with a Tweet to both distribute and promote it. I've got the whole, I've got this thing in front of 6,000 people at last count.
Because I do say that
for nothing.
To be a best-selling author in New Zealand, you need to sell 400 books.
That sounds about right. And,
and so you've done 6,000
exactly.
downloads.
So in your face, Alison Holst, which is who I would have had to be, either
or Annabelle Langbein.
Annabelle Langbein. I would have had to be an ex-All Black rugby player or a cook.
Yep.
To get my book selling on the bookshelves, I decided not to.
And how much in real value do you think it took to create your book?
In terms of time spent?
Time spent.
I looked at the editing stats on the book itself,
yep.
and the document, and there was really, what did I come up with, about 80 hours? Nothing.
Well, that's 2 weeks.
2 weeks solid work.
Yeah.
Spread over about a month, and in truth, a lot of the content, probably half of the content, was from presentations and blogs and bits that I've done in the past. So it was largely formatting and bringing together and working out how to distribute the thing, which was the real job.
And any other kind of books in the pipeline?
Yes, there is another book in the pipeline, which sort of paradoxically is likely to be a real format book.
Why have you gone from talking and discussing kind of like the merits of using social media and freemium, and then decided to put out a paid hardcover?
Because I think the next book will be aimed at a broader audience who don't necessarily have the level of comfort with the social media tools and the downloading and reading books online that perhaps the hardcore social audience does.
My question would be, because obviously you need to either tweet or put it on Facebook to distribute this book.
Yes.
And promote it and actually to be able to read it.
Yes.
Is it not that the people who are reading it or likely to read it already know about the use of this new media?
Oh, I think a lot of the people who read about it will know a hell of a lot more than me.
No, not more than you, but I just mean they already know it's the people, the unconverted.
We're preaching to the converted.
Yeah.
I think there's a great deal of difference between having a pair of running shoes and knowing how to run a marathon. And it's that audience I'm looking for, the people who have dabbled and just really want to know a little bit more. One of the really cool things has been seeing people who don't use Twitter at all getting Twitter accounts just so they can get the book, and I've seen half a dozen of those today, which is it's really gratifying. So hopefully it'll bring people into the medium that weren't already. So that's cool.
And Glenn,
yes.
Any comments?
Well, one thing that I was really interested in is and I think Vaughan's actually coined this phrase, is a badvocate. So instead of an advocate, it's a badvocate. And what that was for me is that the people who generally complain the most, and the most, I think, words vituperously, is the ones who actually really, really like your brand. And that made me think about that, because I will only maybe tweet about something if a brand that I've been working with, and there's been some good examples lately, have really let the team down. And so if you've got someone who is being a badvocate, if you can turn them around, you know, they're going to even more back for you. So he lays that out really nicely in the book. That are some good examples. So yeah, that was to see that in print and just
in print. Did you print yours out?
No, I didn't actually.
No.
I read it on my laptop last night. So print as in on my screen of my MacBook.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, it looked very pretty. So I think that Vaughan's time that he spent actually making it look good have been well spent. And his Photoshop skills, his PowerPoint
skills. Yeah, this is quite possibly one of the first books designed entirely in PowerPoint, which is horrifically amateurish, but I'm familiar with it.
I think it's great.
Well, we were talking to Glenn before. The conventional thinking is you should design a book in InDesign, but I don't have a copy of InDesign. I don't want to pay $1,000 for it, and I don't want to spend 2 or 3 weeks becoming competent in using the program. So it was part of the philosophy of the book, using tools that are easy to use and are freely available.
I think it actually proved to me that
any fool can do it.
Well, any goat farmer could have a crack.
True.
So
See, because my segue into this wine, because we've got to get somehow back to the wine.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, we
Right, is that this is a kind of new media revolution. Right.
Into the rosé revolution.
Into the rosé revolution.
Oh, nice.
This is a segue. I
Yeah.
thought kind of timely that we should be putting it back to the wine.
Which I'm really looking forward to taste, by the way.
And the rosé revolution was at the end of November, and so I'm trying to continue pushing out rosé because given the current climate, if you can see outside, it's beautiful and muggy and humid, and this is when rosé really should be drunk. And it's not all sweet, horrible. Sickly style rosé. It's actually dry and it's got some texture and minerality and everything like that, but you still should get some of that summer fruit coming through. Strawberries, raspberries.
Looks good with the gold at the bottom of the glass there.
They're very classy, aren't they?
See?
Yeah.
You like those?
Yeah.
We
dining.
We had the flash stuff out here at the goat farm. I tell you.
I can already smell that there's a bit kind of mint and raspberry on the top. Just on the nose.
Yeah, I can hit the mint. That's good.
Yeah.
The mint actually is that kind of that, when you smell mint you get like a bit of a zoom up your nostrils. Yeah, that's really cool.
You're quite articulate about smelling there.
A zoom up the nostrils.
Zoom up the nostrils. Yeah.
Well, but that's what it's like. That's what mint's like. You have a whiff of it and it's like.
Yeah, it's very fragrant, aromatic.
Aromatic herb like lavender and mint.
And I do get a little bit of raspberry. I see what you mean. It is very, but it's not real overpoweringly fruity.
It's delicate.
It is. There's some other stuff that's been quite.
And on the palate, you get that raspberry and almost a hint of mint, but then I get a bit of heat as well. Comes from Pinot, so you should get a few Pinot characteristics as well.
Oh, right.
But then the finish is quite nice and dry. It's not a terribly long finish, but
I like that heat.
yeah, I think
it's very good.
Yeah, it doesn't detract from the wine.
No.
And mask a whole load of other stuff, but what it does do is, for me, it just lifts all the fruit as well.
So what sort of food would you recommend?
Christmas
apart from
mince pies.
Christmas mince pies, what would you recommend? Christmas mince pies.
For me, it would go with salmon. It goes with pork. Some of the Christmas fare, you could have it with turkey, chicken. Probably get dominated by the mince pies.
We didn't really think that one through, did we?
No, but it certainly could hold its own, certainly with pork. And if you get rosé bubbles as well, that goes extremely well with pork. Bit of pork fat, pork belly, cuts through all that fat.
We do a very good pork belly here. You can just see through the window the outline of the Weber Smoky Mountain Cooker, which is
not product placement at all.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. I paid through the nose for that. 14 hours for a shoulder of pork, very good indeed. It does mean you need to get up at 2 in the morning to check the things.
But you can't pay through the nose with a book that's free, can you?
You cannot pay through the nose for a book that's free.
Yeah.
And
so any final words? Do you like the wine?
I like the wine very
I
much.
like the wine, I do. Where would you get it from and how much?
Good question.
Mm.
Is it free?
It's
Because that's
definitely
the
not-
new
definitely
that's the
not
new
free.
thing. You know.
I'm not sure that's a business
Ah,
kind of strategy that these guys are going to be employing. But for me, it's got to sit around the $20 mark. Anything over that, and I think you're really pushing kind of like Rosie, especially with the
For a
perception.
lunch,
Yeah.
picnicky,
Yeah.
sit outside wine. Yeah.
Yeah. And given its category, I think that, like, for me, that's kind of like 89, 90 points. I like the dryness in it. So it's got a crispness that I like as well.
well, that's really high from you. For
But it's within its category.
okay,
So that's
it is
why.
very nice.
Yeah.
You know, I've had quite a few rosés lately.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and this is definitely a really nice one.
And
Interesting
on
it's
that
from
note,
Australia.
Yeah, it is from Australia. I mean, they're doing pretty good things in the rosé field, and they're really trying to tell the story of wine a bit more like New Zealand should be. So anyway, on that note, we'll see you next time on Wine Vault TV.